It's easy to see why people feel this way. I mean, the state of video games right now is... You have games increasing price from $60 to $70, you got games with day one DLC almost all over the place, and microtransactions seeping through the cracks. Not to mention all the buggy, unfinished, rushed out the door products there are on the market for a premium price. Yeah, it's clear that gaming is in a very precarious state. So why am I here telling you that I don't think it's that bad?
Advancement cannot occur without both thesis and antithesis.
Video games are expensive. That's pretty obvious to anyone who plays them, but I think that's part of why people think gaming is dying. I'm trying to dissect this point of view a little bit. To experience and to create, video games are expensive. There's a high entry fee and generally a high bar to continually experiencing new things. Of course, we have ways to mitigate that cost, but they don't solve all the problems. Games are also more plentiful than ever. Almost every week of the year there are new releases, so why would people think that gaming is dying? Well, it's about quality, not quantity. I mean, that's kind of obvious. A lot of games from notable companies have seemingly been drained of all creativity. The highest selling games of the year are typically not always the ones that are the most creative. Oftentimes, they're the ones that play it the safest. Even in years where largely hyped games come out, the charts are still topped by the game that a lot of people call the copy-paste video game. These games are further worse because besides being allegedly devoid of creativity, they're also usually full of microtransactions and DLC that make even more money. And they keep doing it, so I guess it's working. Then you have the recent free-to-play model that lauds itself on being free to start, with tons of walls and barriers that can be eased by paying some money. And then also having cosmetic items that can be bought with real money too, and are often way overpriced, even if they can be kind of funny. Even further than that, you now have games that are just unfinished, buggy, broken messes. As the years have gone by, we see more and more of this. I mean, this year alone, there have been some notable, unfunctional, and buggy games. But in a nutshell, I think those are the key points that make people think gaming, especially AAA gaming, is dying.
Are you sure about that?
Dude, I have to say, I was really hoping for your help on this.
While the massive moneymakers like Call of Duty are devoid of creativity, and games like Pokemon, the highest grossing media franchise of all time, are unfinished and rushed out the door, that doesn't really sell me on the idea that gaming is dying. Negative news takes the cake for attention, so of course you'd get a lot more of that due to how algorithmic our lives have become. Admittedly, you can take a look at all this and basically say games are going down the gutter. As I said before, I wholeheartedly disagree with this sentiment. While it's true that there are games coming out that are questionable of quality, there are still tons of games, some even being made by the companies that make the bad ones, that are fantastic, creative, and fun experiences. I'd argue that a majority of big games wind up actually being at least fun. In 2023, I've played a lot of games. A lot of them good, most of them fun, and a few stinkers here and there. There hasn't really been a single dull month for me. And yeah, you aren't me, so your experience and mileage might vary, but the main thing I've been doing is trying to expand my horizons, trying games I wouldn't try otherwise. This is a big thing with me, I guess. Now, of course, this isn't for everyone. As we talked about before, games are expensive, both on the time and money side of things. So to shell that out for a brand new game every few weeks is not really feasible for a lot of people. But again, we're talking a little bit more on an industry scope here. So to say gaming is dying because you can't play every game that comes out doesn't really make sense in that context. I hope that doesn't sound insensitive, but I hope you get my point. Regardless, I like to try a lot of games I've never played, and games that I don't know if I'll like. No matter where I go, there's been a game to play this past year, and they've almost all been solid. Most of the ones I actually didn't like are still not bad games. What I'm trying to point out here is that your experience with games is not the same as everyone else's. In your own world, it's easy to see why people think games are dying. They're getting more and more expensive to both experience and create, and so many games have tons of microtransactions pounded into them to make an extra penny. And sometimes it feels like content was ripped out of the game to be sold as DLC. But at the same time, there are loads of inspired, creatively driven games being released. Games that are clear and clean. Gaming is not dying. In fact, it's never been more alive.
I'd say it's some sort of garbage dump.
The reason the number of buggy releases and unfinished products we hear about is becoming greater is because the market is constantly expanding. Everyone wants a piece of that pie. Yeah, sure, back in the 1990s and maybe even the 2000s, it was easy to buy a game and have a very high chance that it would be a fully functioning game. Now, it's still pretty easy, but there are so many games coming out that it's also easy to feel like it's hard to hit that nail too. Pretty much all entertainment heads down this path. Books, movies, music. There's a point where there are so many options on the market that some of them are just not going to be good. Even if we narrow it down to indie games, by definition, there are tons of shovelware indie games that get put onto storefronts. My point is that just due to how popular gaming is as a hobby and as a way to make money, has resulted in this kind of larger scale or larger feeling scale of bad products. Now, if your argument is that DLC and microtransactions make a game unfinished, then I can't really help you, since I don't believe that all DLC and microtransactions are inherently bad, even stuff released on release day. I've had plenty of games I didn't buy the DLC for and felt satisfied at the end. So gaming itself has become a lot more corporate, of course. That's an unfortunate side effect to the need for huge budget projects to produce these massive games. Now, that doesn't justify a lot of the issues, but it is important to understand how your favorite multi-million-dollar budget game can even exist in today's landscape.
It's not a rank to sneeze at.
Inspectors are not to be sneezed at. Okay, I've got it.
Who said that?
And truth be told, I won't be able to cover every single point I want to make in this video. The main point I want to make clear this time is that there are tons of good games coming out, and just because you are not experiencing them or are not interested in them does not mean gaming is dying, dead, or weak this year. All it means is that you're not interested in these experiences, which is fine, but it's not the end of video games. That's just exaggerating. I'd love to elaborate more on my opinions about the future of the gaming industry and expanding your horizons and whatnot, all the points I've made in this video. So if you'd like to see more of that, you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Maybe. Possibly. I don't really make these videos that often, so maybe not. It's really up to you. You could also comment down below if you think gaming is dying or dead, or if you agree, or if you don't really feel anything towards this point. And if you think there's another reason people feel that way, you could also leave a comment as well. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.